The Heritage Foundation is under fire for its recent report on immigration reform after one of the authors was revealed to be openly biased against Hispanics. And that's after the study had already been attacked for its supposedly fuzzy math. The report estimated legalizing 11 million undocumented immigrants would cost the U.S. $6.3 trillion over the next 5 decades. That number drew skepticism from liberals and conservatives alike, who dismissed the report for allegedly failing to take into account the economic benefits of immigration reform. Florida Republican Senator Marco Rubio called the findings deeply flawed, while the chairman of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, Ruben Hinojosa, called it ugly racism and xenophobia dressed up in economic hyperbole. The Heritage Foundation maintains its study adhered to the National Academy of Sciences recommended methodology. But miscalculation or not, the foundation is now trying to distance itself from the study because of one author's checkered background. The Washington Post first reported Jason Richwine claimed in his 2009 dissertation that the IQs of Hispanic Americans were substantially lower than those of white Americans. Richwine wrote, "No one knows whether Hispanics will ever reach IQ parity with whites, but the prediction that new Hispanic immigrants will have lower IQ children and grandchildren is difficult to argue against." But the PR nightmare doesn't end there for the think tank. It turns out Richwine has also written 2 articles for Alternative Right, a nationalist website whose founder leads an organization that calls itself a Foundation for White Americans. Per The Atlantic, Richwine also penned a book review in The American Conservative explaining that in terms of intelligence, quote, biological differences cannot be wished away. The Heritage Foundation Vice President Michael Gonzalez was quick to distance his organization from the writings. He said in a blog post, "They do not reflect the positions of the Heritage Foundation or the conclusions of our study on the cost of amnesty to U.S. taxpayers, as race and ethnicity are not part of the Heritage immigration policy recommendations." Politico also reports the think tank might hire a high-profile consulting group to deal with the backlash. The report in question is a revision of a similar paper the group released in 2007, which also claimed legalizing undocumented immigrants would come at a heavy cost. Some pundits say that effectively killed the immigration debate that year, despite the criticism the study received for its supposedly faulty methodology. This all comes as the Senate Judiciary Committee prepares to take up the Gang of Eight's 844-page overhaul of U.S. immigration laws. For Newsy, I'm Elizabeth Hagedorn.